I just suddenly thought of this while I was doing something else. You guys remember Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
if, like, the Black Mirror writers or somebody were to make a new Schoolhouse Rock that's just all about, like, conspiracy theories?
That'd be dope.
That would be
And the songs would just be like,
interesting.
I'm just a chip. Oh, yeah, I'm a vaccine chip. Just waiting for that switch to flip. And then I'm into your bloodstream. Where away. I don't know where it would go from there, but, like... Welcome back to the Casual Obsession Horror Movie Podcast, which is the horror movie podcast where we talk about horror movies on the podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we are talking about Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
And I'm your host, Nina, and that was wild. I loved that.
I'm Noah, and I didn't love that at all.
And I'm Emma. I was ambivalent towards that.
Yay!
Somebody had to be. Alright, so this movie came out in 1988. It is written, directed, produced by the Kyoto brothers, who are a trio of siblings who are known for special effects, stop motion, puppets, etc.
It shows.
Yeah. More or less, the impression I get is kind of that they made this movie as, like, an extended demo reel for themselves, you know? And the choice of it all being, like, clown and circus themed is sort of just a way to make all the colors bright and everything obvious. So it's kind of like they're saying, you know, this is how good we can make everything look when we're not trying to hide anything. Because all the effects in the movie are all kind of shown sort of blatantly. It's just kind of like, well, yeah, this is an effect. What are you going to do about it? We're not trying to hide it.
I actually have that as a note written down that I'm not sure how I feel about, or how I'll feel about this later, but I really like the bright colors.
Yeah, it's neat.
I didn't stop liking it. It was different.
It's definitely different. If there's one thing that you can say about this movie, it's that it does things in a way that is differently from pretty much everything else. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that does things the way that this movie does them. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not so good, of course. The movie definitely has a lot of, like, plot, narrative, and character problems.
What?
Yes.
I know.
No way.
The flow of the movie doesn't really follow a 3-act structure. Things just sort of keep happening the whole time.
I don't even know that there's 2 acts, if we're being honest.
No.
There's a beginning then the second act.
There's
which
no
technically, I guess,
feeling
makes it 2.
of separation. If I were to try and divide this movie into 3 distinct acts, it would be Act 1 is everything up until Debbie gets into the shower. Act 2 is the entire 1/3 of the movie that Debbie is in the shower. And then Act 3 is Debbie is out of the shower. Like, that's it divides the movie very neatly into thirds if you look at it that way.
You're not wrong.
I don't like that at all.
I was gonna say
about
there's
it,
like
but...
there's the part where the clowns aren't doing everything they want. There's the part where the clowns are doing everything they want, and then there's the end.
Yeah. So anyway,
I like your shower analogy better.
So anyway, the Kyoto brothers got their start in the early 80s when they worked with Tim Burton on his first movie, which was called something. Vincent?
As the resident Tim Burton fan, I have no idea.
Okay.
Wow, how do you even call yourself a Tim Burton fan?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Obviously, it was Alice
They were
in
on
Wonderland.
that as well.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland was his first movie.
That was not it then.
Look up Tim Burton Kyoto Brothers. Dude.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, they've worked with
I
him on a
don't
couple of
know.
things. They've done animation, puppets, etc. for a lot of other productions. They're very well known for it in the business. They did all the stop motion animation in the movie Elf, which you might recognize. All that stuff at the North Pole, that's all
They
them.
worked in Elf.
That's them.
That tracks.
That's
actually.
our boys.
Tim
Also, all the
Burton's
puppets in Team America,
Oh,
Okay.
incredible.
that was all them.
Love
Which
it.
I haven't seen that one, but I know other people have, so
I do want to mention
yeah.
Tim Burton's first movie was Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I think that was it, Jeff.
Did
I'm
he do
pretty
like
sure
an
it was
animated
Pee-wee's Big
short
Adventure.
before that or something?
Oh, that was his first movie.
Okay.
No, that's the one. I'm pretty
It's
sure
my
that's
fault
the
for
one.
rushing my research here.
No, yeah, they made Large Marge in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Yep. I think he did make a couple shorts before that, but that's not what they were involved in.
Oh, okay.
Because he made the short that would become Frankenweenie before that.
I didn't know he
Gotcha.
made pants.
Anyway, these dudes are very talented stop motion animators, which I find
Yeah.
really cool. I've always been fascinated with stop motion animation.
It is really interesting.
I love it.
Were all the clowns stop? I thought they were
No,
costumes.
they were all
they
rubber
stop
suits.
motion? Okay.
You can actually see zippers on a couple of them
Okay.
at a couple of points.
That doesn't surprise me. I
So
wasn't paying
synopsis,
attention that closely.
ratings, etc. I have
I got the critical ratings if you need them.
Okay. We can get to that in a second. In terms of a non-spoiler synopsis, I have been racking my brain for a way to explain this movie briefly, and I think if you want a non-spoiler synopsis of the movie, you literally just look at the title: Killer Clowns from
Honest-
Outer Space. It's
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
what
Yeah.
more do you want
Yeah.
there? If you, if I talk about it at all, it'll wind up being spoilers. But honestly, I don't think spoiling this movie really affects the experience of it, because
Absolutely not.
the entirety of the experience of the movie is just the visual experience of seeing all the like clowns and circus stuff and the visual effects. I mean, that's the thing. The movie isn't well written. It's not well acted, certainly.
No.
It doesn't have a plot really whatsoever. It barely has characters. The entire thing rides
yeah.
on the fact that it's fun to look at.
Exactly.
So
I found myself from scene to scene just kind of being like, I wonder like what this set piece is gonna do or what that thing's gonna do
Yeah.
or how they did this or that. It was never like, what's gonna happen
oh man,
to
I hope Mike is okay. No, you're never thinking
Mike,
that.
Dave, and Deb.
You never once think, I hope anyone's okay.
No, you never
I
think
forgot
about it
that
at all.
I
Also-
forgot that Deb is technically a final girl because I was so wrapped up in everything else that was going on that when the clowns didn't kill her in one scene, I was like, why aren't they killing her? And Noah's like, because she's the final girl. And I'm like, oh,
Well,
I mean, I guess.
Final Girl implies that any other main characters die,
See,
and
That's a
they
good
don't.
point.
well, you
think that
you're
they
im-
do, but
it's
then they
implied
don't.
that they do, though, right? Because Mike name drops so many people, first and last name.
That
He's
is-
like, oh man, Joe Lombardo died. It's like, who's Joe
They
Lombardo?
mentioned Joe Lombardo like 6 times, and it's like, who the hell is this
Yeah.
man? He wasn't in the
Yeah,
narrative.
they show his face. And they show it like,
Yeah.
I should know who it is. And he's like, oh my god, it's Joe Lombardo. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
and then they find
did I
the
miss
glasses in
something?
the cotton candy later on, and he's like, "It's Bob McCreed. That's his car. Those are his glasses. They killed
Yeah,
Bob
it's just-
McCreed." And it's like, well, did we see Bob McCreed? Apparently, we did for like 5 seconds right at the front end of the movie when they're all up at
Yeah,
makeout point. We see him for like 4 seconds. That's his first movie role. Fun fact: the guy who played Bob McCreed. But we
Man,
don't
poor
care
guy.
because he's
the
not.
man showed
he
up and
doesn't
he's just
even
like,
talk.
"Cops." No, he says one word, and he's like, cops. That's it.
That was so
Yeah.
funny. That's one of my favorite. I did laugh out loud at a couple scenes. That was one of them.
Yeah, well, and
s-
that's the bigger thing, I think, is the funniest stuff in the movie comes from the one guy who seems to have been taking it all seriously, which is John Vernon, the actor who plays Mooney, the hard-ass
Oh my
asshole
god.
cop.
Yeah, holy cow.
Everything that
I
is
can't wait to talk more
like
about him.
actually funny in this movie comes from him, because he is just so serious and so like all in on this movie. I think he's the only like big name actor that they had. Actually, he was like a well-known like dramatic actor
And
previously.
They cast him as their side character.
And yeah, they make him the comic relief, except since the whole thing is built on such absurdity, the only thing that can function as the comic relief is for him to play it super straight and serious.
All right, so I think that's a good synopsis. Do we want
Yeah.
to talk about our ratings?
I don't think that's a good synopsis, but we need to move on from it. So, ratings.
I'm gonna say
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
propose a slightly different numerical system for this movie, since it is so
Okay.
indefensibly bad. It does not deserve a good rating, no matter how fun it is. I'm gonna give it like a -9 because it's really bad, but it comes around again to being fun. And I cannot,
So-
in good conscience, give it an actual good rating. So I'm going to propose that in the future, when we cover movies that are so indefensibly bad that they become enjoyable again, we give them negative numbers to reflect their enjoyability, but while maintaining how bad they are.
So I just gave it a solid 7 because I'm like, I can't in good
Literally.
conscience give it more. But it didn't deserve a 6.
I am literally right there with you.
I don't think you're wrong, but I was just like, no, this of all the movies,
It's
like 'cause
fun. It's fun to watch.
the day before, I had watched a movie that ended up being almost 2 hours of not worth my time.
No, what was that?
The Pale Door. I'll tell you guys
That
about it later.
sounds terrible.
It was. So yeah, Killer Klowns pops in, and I'm like, it's bright, it's colorful, it has a banging soundtrack that like will not quit.
The soundtrack
Right from
is
the
the
top,
soundtrack
it's like
is-
Killer Clowns.
Yeah, that opening song slaps.
It's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's why they have like the Killer Clowns from Outer Space musical theater experience. They like play clips from the movie while a band does the soundtrack live.
Yeah,
It's
that
insane.
band that did the Killer Clowns song, the Dickies, they did an entire album called Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I don't know if it's like inspired by the movie, but like they made an entire album to go along with that song.
That's dope.
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
Okay, so my rating, if we're doing the negative scale,
If we are, we don't have to. I mean, that was just an idea that I had.
I do like the idea.
I also had an
Uh,
idea
then-
for a 3-axis alignment chart cube.
that's too much. I will
but
say it was
I
a
thought that
negative
would be
8
a
out
little
of 10.
Too complicated. A negative
Negative
8
8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was quite to the point where I would even like want to watch it again anytime soon.
I
But
wouldn't watch it again soon, but I
No,
will heavily
certainly
watch
not.
it again.
I did not hate watching it. I don't regret seeing it. I did learn a couple things while watching it. So
All right.
Like the value of friendship.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely learned from this movie.
I'm gonna stick to the regular 1 out of 10 scale since our fans do love my ratings and they want to be
It's
able to
true.
keep track of them, you know?
You have to be
and,
consistent. I get
like
it.
my tier list of movies. The lowest I've given was a 3 for Friday the 13th, as we all remember. This I'm gonna give a 3.1
Oh my god.
Valid.
because I don't
fair.
think it was bad as Friday the 13th.
Yikes.
But it still was not good. And I mean, Friday the 13th prepared me so that like the twist of the fact that it was the clown's mom the entire time, like that didn't
It felt
like
tacked
throw
on.
me off as mom. That didn't throw me off as much. So yeah.
When the clown's mom descended from the ceiling, that was my favorite part of the movie. I've decided that that's what that was, and you can't convince me
It's their
otherwise.
mom. Yeah.
The Kyoto brothers
100%.
called it Clownzilla.
That sounds about right. That is a good name for it.
Yeah.
It's correct.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact that Clownzilla is actually played by Charles Kyoto in a rubber suit. They just use
Incredible.
like
Really?
forced perspective to make it look huge.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
I told Nina to not laugh directly into the mic because
He's
it
being
peaks.
mean to me for laughing too
I
loud.
told her not to laugh directly into the mic. She doesn't have to not laugh. It's just not right into the mic.
Speaking
This
of
is where my
doing things
face is.
directly into other things, when the farmer guy in the beginning gets electrocuted by the tent,
Yeah.
he looks directly into the camera.
A lot of people look directly into the camera in this movie. I
As
noticed. It
previously
happens at
mentioned,
least
the acting
4
is
times.
not great in this movie.
I think the acting in this movie felt more natural than in Friday the 13th.
Honestly,
That's my
one of
hot
the
take.
things that I noted is the acting in the beginning, not terrible, and I wrote that while
Yeah.
the old man was doing things.
Yeah.
So
The dialogue was weird for the old man. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
His
But the acting wasn't
presence in
terrible.
the movie is odd because he is on screen for like 10 minutes right at the front,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which in an hour and a half long movie with an awful lot of runtime padding in it is a very long time for a character with no actual given name in the narrative to
Yeah.
be present.
Well, was
His name's
he-
Gene Green, apparently.
Oh,
That's the
I
name
thought
of
he
his
might be
character.
Joe
Know his
Lombardo.
Wouldn't it be great if we knew that was Joe Lombardo? No, his name's Farmer Gene Green. And his
Yeah,
dog's
I
name
love
is
that. He's
Pooh
like-
Bear?
yeah, he's like, oh man, I found Joe Lombardo and some old man.
Yeah, this guy is never referred to later. He is never mentioned by anybody. He's just there for 10 minutes to show us how serious the situation is. He is wearing a red shirt, and then he dies, of course, because
He
he's
does.
wearing a red
Of
shirt.
course.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We get that much time with him and then like nothing.
So I
It's
feel like
weird.
before we descend into talking about this movie much more,
Right.
we do need to finish trigger warnings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're scared
Trigger
of
warning.
clowns, don't be watching this movie.
Yeah, this is
Literally.
these are the most horrific clowns I've ever seen in my life.
If you,
You-
aren't
I don't know,
actually
Looking at
scared
them
of
is
clowns,
disgusting.
if you're not actually scared of clowns, but you like understand why people are scared of clowns, maybe you also don't want to watch this movie.
There were 3 dogs that died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of dead dogs
Yep.
in this one, yeah.
A lot of dead dogs.
A lot of dead dogs. 2 of
right
them
off
were
the
like
bat- oh,
air
sorry.
balloon dogs, though. So.
Yeah,
That's
and then
true.
one of them is the old man's dog, Pooh Bear, who you just find his red bandana.
Yeah,
and
he's
that's where
an
it ends.
off-screen death, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
but still, I mean, we don't want them to do Pooh Bear like that.
Yeah. How
No.
could they do Pooh Bear? A character that actually had a name.
Yeah.
Of all the named characters,
So
they
All the named
literally
characters.
named him Pooh Bear. Let's see.
yeah,
Racism is a biggie. There's Mike's Native American impression right off the bat.
not great. Yeah, not.
Yeah.
It's
a
not-
lot of the things that Mike says, Mike's lines do not age well.
No.
He makes
But
he
that's
makes
like-
some jokes about bulimia for no reason.
That's another
That
thing
was
that we
another
have
one
in
that we
there.
It's
yeah.
definitely
not
wanted to
funny.
bring
It
up.
doesn't even make any sense.
No. But here's the thing, right? This movie is so disjointed. All the bad things outside of like the clowns being in it happen in the first 10 minutes of the movie because that's the only time that there's any dialogue and exposition of value.
Yeah, after that, it's
And that's when
only
Mike says
ever
all
talking
his-
about the clowns.
Yeah. And we will come back to some of the dumb shit Mike says about these clowns later too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike is just an idiot
Yeah.
throughout the entire movie. He never makes a
I gotta be
single good
honest,
decision.
they try and act like the Terenzi brothers are stupid, but Mike is like they're dumb, but Mike is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Debbie
Yeah.
seems to really know what's up, though. She
That's,
sees the circus tent and she's like, we're not going in there, obviously. And then Mike just walks right in.
Yeah.
Just like the old man. He's like, nah, this is just a weird circus tent in the middle of nowhere. There's no problems with this.
Let's see if we can get
Racist.
some free tickets.
What a weird assumption, right? Like, oh, I showed up. That means I'll be able to get free tickets, right?
Yeah.
What a weird thing to just think.
Are we good to talk about the movie at this point?
Are we done?
I
with
got
No,
so
we
many
gotta
things
do
I
There's
need-
scary
there's some
rating.
like monstery looking
Oh,
wormy
scary
clown
rating.
larvae at one point, if that kind of thing bothers you.
Yeah, that was
one
weird.
comes up out of a toilet. There's that.
That had big Beetlejuice energy. I've never even seen Beetlejuice, but I knew that had big Beetlejuice energy.
I have no idea what you mean, but okay.
Okay.
Beetlejuice is a great movie. And an
I've
even
heard good
better
things.
musical.
I'll have to watch it
I've
someday.
never heard about that.
Not a
Yeah,
musical
it's a
fan,
great
actually.
musical. Mm-hmm.
Huh. All right. So yeah, I mean, basically what most of it comes down to is if you are signing up to watch a movie that's called Killer Klowns from Outer Space, you are getting what you should expect.
I mean,
I guess.
it's... I feel like walking into this and expecting anything that isn't what this movie is the same energy as Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, where it's like much like Killer Klowns from Outer Space, you don't need to watch that movie to know what happens. It's right there.
Yeah, it just tells you.
Yeah, you know what's
And
going on.
there are no surprises in this movie.
None.
None.
Actually, no, there is one bit of surprise. I was amazed there was no nudity in this movie for how schlocky it is. There's no nudity.
Yeah, actually
That
stunning,
shocked me.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a moment that you think it's coming close, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's a very strange scene, but...
Mm-hmm.
Huh, how about that?
But
Yeah, all
let's-
right. So talking about the scary rating.
Scary
Yeah.
rating.
Scary
It's my
rating. Let's hear
time
it.
to shine, fam. All right. So, as you all know, I'm a big scaredy cat. Get scared by movies. All of them are at least 10 out of 10. This movie, I regularly questioned throughout the movie whether this was even a horror movie and not just a comedy. I'm giving this shockingly a 1 out of 10 scary.
Yep.
It was not scary.
That's the thing, right? This gets billed as a horror comedy, but it's not really scary enough to be a
No.
horror comedy, and it's not
Like-
really funny enough to be a horror comedy. Like, people have
The
pointed that
scare-
out before. That's not an original thought, of course, but, like, it doesn't swing hard enough in any direction, kind of.
No. The scariest thing, or like the most horror-y thing, is maybe like the blood-filled cotton candy cocoons with the bodies.
Yeah.
I would just say the clowns'
But-
faces.
Well, the clowns are like grotesque looking, but not in like a way that's actually horrifying.
Yeah.
I don't think. But that's me It's like so overdone that I can no longer find it scary.
Okay, that's fair, that's
yeah,
fair.
they're showing
Yeah.
an awful lot. You have plenty of time to get used to it, kind of.
But yeah, so other than that, yeah, I guess if you're scared of clowns and you have that phobia, this might be scary, but it's not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valid.
And
Right.
now we can swing on over to the spoiler summary.
Yeah.
There's killer clowns.
There's some
Killer
killer
Clown
clowns.
from
They show
outer
up in
space.
Crescent Cove, which is allegedly a college town full of college kids, but not one of them college kids is under 30. Most of them look like they're pushing 40.
Also, they have the biggest stick in the mud cop for a college town. Just throwing that one out there.
I don't know
If this
what
is
he's
actually a
doing there.
college
Tell you
town,
what, he's taking
Why is he there?
he's taking his whole thing so seriously. Like, I was talking about how the actor was taking the role seriously, but like the character is far too into it as well. Like,
Yeah.
he's got that one scene where he's like pouring himself a whiskey and he's got this like monologue about the kids using daddy's money to get sent to a fancy school. But like, from what we see of Crescent Cove, that school can't possibly be a fancy school.
No.
So what's he talking about?
And then there's this whole speech of like why you kids gotta come into our town, like why can't you just stay on your campus? And I'm like, well, we live in the town.
I love that. He's like, hey, we live in the town too.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what is the separation of school and town? Is it a
We
nice
never actually
school
see the
that we
school.
never see?
We see more degens than we see college kids, because we see that whole group
There's
of
a
punks.
huge biker gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see those two like punks in the in the jail cell that like, why did Dave try to defend them? Nothing else about his character makes me think he gives a crap.
Yeah.
Like,
I think maybe
like,
he was
he's-
just trying to shut down Mooney.
that's fair. Maybe Mooney was right. Maybe he does just want him off the force. I know I want Mooney off the force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, that guy was so funny though.
So, like, when I first went to go watch this movie on Netflix, you know how Netflix has, like, the little trailers they'll play as you're hovering over the movie?
Right.
Oh, no.
The one it played for this movie, it wasn't like a trailer, it was just a scene of the clown fighting the biker gang guy. And
Right.
it's like...
What a way to...
It like
what a
shows
way to
him
start.
with the boxing gloves, and he's like, "Whoo!" And then the guy's like, "Ah!" And then he punches his head off.
Yeah.
And I was,
What are you gonna do?
I was
Knock
just
my
like-
block off?
yeah, I was just automatically like, I can't believe Jeff is making me watch this fucking movie.
Oh
Which is
my god.
Exactly the reception that I was hoping for.
Oh. One thing I hated about the clowns, their general appearance, I have way too much respect for the art of prosthetics and like special effects and stuff to not admire their design. What I will say that I absolutely hate is how they basically talk like minions. Cannot stand it.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
And
in their defense, this was like 25 years before the inception
I
of...
do not care,
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay.
there's a horror game called Emily Wants to Play. And
Oh, I've heard of that one.
yeah, the second one, no, I think it's the first one. One of the dolls is like this clown, and the noises it makes, like, there was specifically one point in the movie where I was like, is that the same, like, sound bit?
I wonder if
It
it is.
might be.
It was wild.
It's entirely possible that they did that specifically to reference this movie.
I like
It is
that.
a
That's
creepy
neat.
clown. So,
So,
let's talk about this movie, fam.
Do we want to talk
So-
about critical ratings first?
No.
oh yeah, sure. Metacritic, it's got a 43 on Metacritic
43
And I gotta
out of,
be honest,
out of
that's-
100?
out of 100.
Yikes.
Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 75, and that has to be user rating.
No,
Because
the
that
audience
sits-
score is like 59.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's okay.
Nice.
Because like Letterboxd has a 3.5 or 3.2 out of 5, and IMDb has 6.2 out of 10. So like,
Better than it deserves, really.
it's sitting pretty square in the middle, about where I expect to find it. You know?
That's the thing, because there are a lot of movies like similar to this. Like, when I say similar to this, I'm specifically thinking of like Garbage Pail Kids that are like bottom of the IMDb like list, right? Where it's like they weren't clearly intended this to be bad, but no one can stand it even knowing that it's supposed to be bad. But with this movie, it's like this movie deserves the like, again, just for the effects, because I find myself admiring the hell out of the effects.
Because they're good.
because they're good. They look so good. They look like alien levels of good. Different style, obviously.
Right, clearly.
Like,
if they were
but
trying for that, they probably
they could. You could
but-
tell they could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really impressive. I can't, like, all the design work that must have gone into that. I literally am just, like, impressed and floored by this, and it's severely affecting.
Yeah,
It's
that
giving
was
me a bias
that
about
was
this movie.
a huge thing for me the first time that I watched this movie. In the one scene where you see the one clown the first time when he kills Farmer Gene Green, there's that like close up on his face, and at that point I was like, oh, was somebody actually trying to make this movie good? Because I didn't know anything about it at the time, so I was expecting everything to just be just unabashedly bad, which for the most part, yeah, the movie is, but the effects are actually committed to looking good.
There's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It is weird because, like, you do go into it expecting it to be, like, really bad. Like, total shit.
Yeah. And it is, but
I had the expectation of, like, okay, this is the kind of movie that they'd watch on Mystery Science Theater 3000 and, like, joke about through the entire thing, and they probably did.
I'm pretty sure they have, but
yeah,
not surprising.
And I hate those kinds of movies. But as I was watching it and as I finished it, I was like, okay, I still think this is, like, the kind of movie they would watch on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but it's probably, like, the best movie that would have been on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
So here's the thing. I was literally just about to bring up MST3K because this is when you hear the concept, it sounds akin to one of my favorite MST3K, like, riff tracks titles, Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny, which is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And when you think of a movie like that, why are you laughing at me?
It's just an awful name.
It's such
It
a
is.
weird title.
You should look up the Ice Cream Bunny from this because I'm about to reference it. When I think of the level of special effect that's going to be put into a movie with a title like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I have this image in my head of the Ice Cream Bunny. I'm sorry, pulled it up. It's terrifying. It looks like someone literally just made the crappiest Easter Bunny costume they could, and that's like the only special effects that go into this. And that's what I think of when I think a so bad it's good movie. Is I specifically think of this level of home done effect. So like that's took this movie up to a 10 for me, away from.
What the fuck is that?
What?
No, that's horrific. That's awful. It's very bad.
Well,
There's nothing good about that thing.
no.
Please, audience, do yourself a favor
Please.
and look up Santa Claus versus the Ice Cream
Whatever
Bunny.
you are doing
and the
right
Ice Cream
now.
Bunny.
It's
Drop
and the
it
Ice Cream Bunny.
and
I
look
wish
for
they
this.
fought, but they're actually on the same side.
And it's a horror movie, obviously.
Obviously,
Clearly.
it scares the hell out of me.
What?
But it's legitimately.
He has a mustache. Why does the rabbit have a mustache? Why? He looks like a Civil War general.
He does. He's got mutton chops. But like legitimately, that's the level of special effects that I expect from a so bad it's good movie. Because I've watched I've watched this one. I've watched other. My college roommate was really into this kind of thing, so I've seen a lot of really bad like Godzilla like costumes and obviously this. So like
that's really
I- when
crazy because my ex was really into those kinds of
no relation.
No relation, though.
No relation, though. But yeah, no, I've seen so many of these. That's what I expected going into this. Like, I expected to put this on my shelf of now I've seen another so bad it's good horror or otherwise movie. But this, like, really impressed me. there's not another single movie in that category that I'd even try watching again. But this I would.
Yeah. I mean, it's surprisingly has like a lot of quality, but when you expect it to be total shit. And that was one of the surprising things was because like at the beginning of the movie, I think the first lines that you really get are from the Officer Mooney or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was expecting it to be very like badly delivered or whatever. And it wasn't. It was surprisingly decent, and then a lot of like the rest of the delivery by the actors was like okay, and it wasn't like total garbage like I was expecting. So yeah, it's just surprising, but it's just such a weird fucking movie.
Yeah.
It is.
And I don't think it's necessarily a horror movie.
No. Well,
it doesn't really feel like
gore.
it most of the time.
No.
There's enough gore that it's like, what are you gonna put it under otherwise?
Yeah, what else can you call it?
It's
rom-com.
rom-com, obviously. There are moments in this movie that made me laugh out loud. Examples include they peel the cotton candy off the old man's face, and they're like, I don't know, it's Deb and Mike, and they're like, what the hell is that? And then they like look at each other, and as they're looking at each other, Mike just unceremoniously drops the cotton candy, and I lost my mind.
See, Mike is one of my favorite parts of this movie because of just the dumb things that he does. Like in the beginning, right before that scene, my favorite thing is that like they're in the circus tent spaceship, big metal hallways, voices echoing, and he's just like, no, this is fine, everything's normal. And then they go and they find the reactor core, and he's like, oh no, this isn't normal, that's bad. And then they go into the cotton candy room, and he's like, oh, damn, this is just a cotton candy factory. This is where they make the cotton candy.
And then he says,
This is where they
must
ship
be
the
where
cotton
they
candy
hang it up
from."
to dry before they ship it out. What?
Yeah. And then Deb's looking at it, and she's like, I don't think this is a cotton candy factory. I don't think that's what they look like. And he's like, I don't know. And then he's just like, look at this. And that's when they find the body. It's just like, what?
And it's
so
kind of
funny.
implied that the way that the whole cotton candy deal is like it wraps the person up in a cocoon and then like gradually dissolves them into a liquid so that the clowns can sip on them.
Like spiders.
Yeah.
Like
Just
the
like
one
spiders.
clown took a sip after like
With his
tap,
crazy
tap,
With the
tap, 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 making
craziest,
sure it was
crazy
right.
straw. Yeah, and he's like,
I love how that he looked guilty. He was definitely not supposed to be taking a sip from that cocoon.
I don't think that's health department regulated.
Do you think Stephen King saw this movie and it inspired him to write it? Because the whole
what year
like
did it come out? It was in his coked
I
out
want to
phase.
say the book came out in like 1987, which would be right before this movie.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I kind of think of this as
actually.
being the lesser known best adaptation of it, though. You know?
I mean, they're
86.
Oh,
They're-
86 was when
86.
the novel came out.
they're wrapping them up in cocoons like spiders, and then spoiler alert, Pennywise is like his true form is like a spider. So
Yeah.
That's a good point.
What is it?
Yeah.
I wonder
people,
how much
people
of this
really
was
do
coming
like
from
taking. People like taking. I think it's less of a ripping off Stephen King and more of a two of the most common fears that we can think of off the top of our heads are the fear of spiders and the fear of clowns. So let's just mash them together and make a weird love baby out of them. Put it in a
Honestly,
horror.
The only
movie.
thing
when you
that
say
could
that
make
way,
it more
Stephen King is
effective.
the least original man.
Oh, that's true.
Stephen King is the least original man.
That's
All
true,
he does
yeah.
is rip off. We're gonna talk about that when we inevitably watch a Stephen King movie.
Whenever
but
that happens. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll watch
yeah.
it at some point.
I
Yeah.
guess.
But yeah, what else? I don't love the implication that Ice Cream Bros did the dirty with a couple
there's no
space
implication.
clowns.
It is 100% confirmed that they boned the clown ladies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's given to us pretty clearly that that's what happened. And I also really don't like that.
I mean, there were
Also,
some pretty
they're just
sexy-looking clown ladies, though.
Well, yeah, and the one was
Are
like
you
inflating
Deb's
her
friends?
boobs to help them out. Like, yeah, that in a ball pit even.
it's-
Like, just...
Yeah.
Ball pit boning. That's
Other-
exactly.
Ball
That's
pit
the,
boning.
the secret DashCon ball pit footage they didn't want you to see.
Listen, if you could guarantee that ball pit was clean, like it would be an interesting experience.
Sure.
Yes.
If you,
Right
it
next to your
seems
brother?
Impractical.
I don't know about that one.
with a weird clown lady.
I think the fact
mean,
that it's a
who else
clown
are you
lady
gonna,
is
like,
the least of your
high-five?
concerns.
Can
though.
we? Hey guys, this is a kink-friendly podcast. We need to stop kink shaming the Ice Cream Brothers.
No,
I'm
I don't think we
supporting
do.
them.
I don't know.
I
I just...
support them in their interests.
All right, let's move past this one. All right, other troubling implications of this movie. So, the popcorn gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shoot this stuff
Yeah.
out of a gun. And actually, fun fact about the prop before I talk about the troubling implications of the gun. The popcorn gun was the most expensive prop in the movie. It cost $7,000 to make. It actually worked.
Why?
And it took 6 weeks to build.
Oh wow.
Okay.
It actually
wild.
worked 100%. Every time you see it firing, that's because the gun actually worked. Okay, but
dope.
they're shooting popcorn out of this gun, and then later on in the evening, the popcorn grows into clown larvae.
Yeah.
What?
And he sprinkles some in the dumpster.
Yeah, that one
too.
clown is like walking around with that like handbag
He's
full
like,
of popcorn, just
"Whoa."
sprinkling it into places that he thinks to be the right places for it. That's very odd. The characterization of the clowns in this movie is so weird. In the
Yeah.
times
I
that they
hate how
choose to
much-
show them being serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you get so much emotion out of these hideous clowns.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
in really
and I don't
weird
like how I
times.
always know what they're thinking.
Right?
Like,
Right? Like, you see what they're
Yeah.
doing, and you always know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. And that's very weird. Another
I
one of
think
those
it's
weird things
honestly
that the movie
impressive.
just does well. What was that, Emma?
I think the weirdest like clown scene that I did not enjoy was when the clown was in like the little playground outside of the
Yeah.
restaurant and was trying to lure the little girl to come outside and was doing like the peekaboo thing.
Yeah, really.
That was
Even
so
though-
creepy.
Even though that girl was far too old to appreciate a good game of peekaboo.
Naturally.
Yes.
Was like mesmerized and started like sneaking outside. But that whole scene was just like
Very
fucking
creepy,
weird to me.
very creepy. And also
Uncomfy.
leads into another problem with this movie. The fact that none of the people in this town panic when they see these horrifying clowns.
the Candygram lady.
Everyone acts
We're-
so completely normal about it.
They're like, "Oh, a clown!"
Yeah, the one
Like,
girl like opens
the
up her
only
door and there's
good
the clown.
reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Mhm.
she
The only good
opens up the
reaction was-
door wearing her like lingerie or whatever, and she sees a
Yeah.
clown who looks absolutely horrifying, and he's holding a stack of pizzas, and she's like, "Huh, pizza."
But he
Like,
had
that's the
pizza with
surprising
extra
thing.
sausage.
The only person who reacted properly was the convenience store owner.
Yes.
But
Paralyzed
he didn't
by
even react to the
fear.
clowns. He was like, he was afraid of the clowns, but he was more like, they're wrecking my
He
shop.
was my favorite character. He had the exact same energy as Bilbo Baggins, Martin Freeman Bilbo Baggins, when all the dwarves are wrecking his house.
Yeah,
Ah,
100%.
I never watched
He's
that.
just like,
movie,
oh,
but-
oh heavens, stop wrecking the aisles, please. And they're like, they've killed, up to that point, they had just killed everyone else, even the other customers,
Yeah.
willy-nilly. And the implication that I hate is that means these killer clowns from outer space have convenience stores on their planet because they know how it works.
They were looking
come up
for
to
things.
They come up to the the counter afterwards and just pile all the crap on the counter.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
ready to pay for it.
And like they think it's okay to just wreck the whole place while looking for whatever they're after, but then they do bring it up to the counter and get ready to pay for it. Like, what in the world?
the K in Killer Clown stands for Karen.
Killer Karens from outer space.
I do want to say there was one like throwaway line that they used to try to explain the clowns from outer space and why they look
Yes.
the way they do, that was absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, just randomly
made
in the
me-
final
Mike's line,
15
right?
minutes of the movie, they start speculating just for a moment about what's
Yeah.
going on.
They're like, maybe back in like ancient Egyptian times, they like came in contact with these aliens that looked like clowns, and that's where our concept of clowns comes from.
It's like, Mike, shut up. You're dumb as hell. What is this?
Well,
You're trying to be deep out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, and the even dumber thing about that is that Mike speculates that they're abducting people to probe them or experiment on them, which he has seen they are not doing. He knows for a
Yeah.
fact they are eating these people. He has seen it happen. And he
Well,
says,
he
well, but
didn't-
maybe they're experimenting on us. And one of the Terenzi brothers says, so that means they're intelligent. As though being
Why don't they
capable of
just talk to
interplanetary
us?
travel isn't enough proof that they are intelligent. You think they got
I
there
made
by
this
accident?
note about the Terenzis. Like, the Terenzis right then, I'm like, they're so stupid that even though they've seen the clowns in action, they still act like the whole thing is a joke.
Yeah.
When they walk in, they're like, oh, hope no clowns murder us. And it's just like, dude, you watched the clowns collect your entire town in front of you and suck it up in that weird clown car.
The clowns do kill
Hose
just about the
Dr. Seuss
entire
machine.
town, don't they?
Yeah, they go through, and then for some reason Deb gets bubbled, and not a single other person really gets bubbled.
There is
Like,
literally
yeah.
no
what's with that?
reason for that. Why?
Yes, it made me sick. It's because she's the
Why?
final girl. No one
Yeah.
else had to deal with
That's
those
it.
clown worms either.
True.
What color is the balloon she's in? Yellow. And they start checking every single neon pink cotton candy stack. It's like, she's in a balloon. What color? Yellow. Okay.
It's
Checking
Joe Lombardo.
No, not Joe.
Oh, they
No,
got Joe.
I want to talk about another part of the movie that killed me because it's in Noah's notes, and I just noticed it. Looks like a wad of melted ice cream. Well, it's not.
The
Zooms in on
skeleton
skeleton
hand.
hand. Oh shit!
Oh,
No,
and
it's
my
just like,
favorite
oh,
line in
shit.
the entire movie. What are you gonna do with those pies, boys?
Yes. I just love how he's just like, hey, the carnival's closed, and then they just keep coming out, and he's just like, what are you gonna do with those pies, boys? It's like, well, I don't know, buddy. What do you think they're gonna do with the pies? What do you think they're gonna do?
There was nothing about the pie scene that made me think he was going to die from that.
Right? And then
Yeah,
the
he's just like-
pies
he just-
inexplicably turn into a pile of ice cream after hitting him, and then it dissolves his body.
I just love how the pies just kept coming. And there's only like, because I was ready to count like 30 clowns coming out of that car.
Right, I
'Cause
was
they
disappointed
pulled
by
it
the
up in
lack
a
of
spot
clowns in the car.
that I'm like, okay, a lot of clowns could come out of here, and then 4 come out, and I'm like, well, yeah, I
It's-
believe that could fit.
it's
and
dumb
then
because
so many pies.
They had like
bit
they
could've
had
been better.
the benefit of like, you know, being able to put the camera in such a spot that they could just feed clowns through the
Yeah.
car. They didn't even actually have to cram a bunch of clowns in that car, and they still didn't pull it off.
Also, speaking of the clowns, one of my favorite things about all of them is that later in the movie, you see clowns that you know died, but with like a different hairpiece on, and it's dead ass the same clown.
Oh,
but
actually.
now it has a green mohawk.
Actually, that's a special effects thing. The clowns were all made from the same 5 molds, and they're
Yeah, that
all
makes-
just
you
on
can
different
tell.
bodies and different hair pieces to mix it up.
I love it. Especially because there's more than 5 main clowns.
Right?
So like
We do
they
see
didn't
a
even
lot of
make enough-
recurring clowns.
They didn't even make enough. Oh, that's right, because the tall red-haired clown who does the robot is also the same face as the tiny punchy clown.
Yeah.
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 And that's what threw me off. I saw that face and I'm like, wow, even the shortest clown is like 6'5".
Can
And then I
we-
learned that was not the case.
Can we all talk about which one our favorite clown was? Because mine was
yes.
the wizard.
The
Wizard.
The wizard clown. that does shadow magic.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't the shadow
What an
magic wizard
insane
clown
scene
also the
that
child
is,
predator
right?
clown?
No, was it?
No, that's not the
Is
child
that
predator
child-
clown.
Okay, because
Okay.
child predator is the one who was like at the
I
at
need to
Big
talk.
Top Burger.
Yeah.
I need to talk about child predator clown for a second.
Yeah.
So
Not my favorite.
I need to talk about him because as I've mentioned, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I work at a used media shop, and for months we had, his name is Jumbo. For months we had a Jumbo Funko Pop that was sitting on top of one of our end caps, and every once in a while one of my coworkers would just look off into the distance and say, Jumbo. And that
What?
so he has a very special place in my heart. The day he was sold was the day that we lost a friend. So
Did you all go and say goodbye to him when he was sold?
no, I was the only one who was at the front when he got sold. So I was the only one who I told the new owner, I was like, take good care of him. We also have, this is another good one. We have we have a rotating amount of posters, and one of them is the Killer Clowns from Outer Space poster. And we also have a regular customer who will not go named here, who is hilarious. I love him very much. He's done such things as asking for a Nightmare on Elm Street disc, and then just kind of pointing at Freddy over and over again and being like, "Welcome to primetime, bitch." So he and one of my coworkers have this going bit where my coworker is trying to get him to buy the $8 Killer Clowns poster, and every time he comes in, the exchange is, "Oh, I have the poster again. It just came in." And then the customer goes, "Screw you, man. I'm not buying your stupid clown poster." So, all that to say, my favorite clown is Jumbo, just because even though he's a child predator, I really do miss that Funko Pop.
I think my favorite clown. I mean, the one that did the puppet show holds a special place in my heart.
The
But
importance
I also-
of consent puppet show.
Yes. But I also love the clown that did the robot, mimicking the monkey in a band uniform.
I think it was an ape, actually.
The ape in a band uniform.
It didn't have a tail, so
I
that
don't
makes
know.
it an ape.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
the way he
I
does
think
that
he
just
might
to
be my
blend in
favorite.
for a second. Like, why is he?
Yeah,
do
he
that?
just walks up and he's like, oh, and then you're reminded how freakishly tall these clowns are.
That's my
when
favorite part.
These two girls come by and they're like, huh, and then they just leave, and it's just like, it's so tall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There he is. There's
think-
my boy.
I think I like the punchy clown who does that Johnny Cage punch to the one biker.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That
good.
was so
Only
funny.
because he
I-
does that Johnny Cage punch. Like, he just
It's
rolls
pretty
up like,
good,
how do
I'm
you
not
do,
gonna lie.
fellow bikers? And then they don't respect him, and he just punches the man's head off. Like,
Yeah, like honestly, I don't think he was going to kill them. I think he was just rolling up and being like, "Yeah, I got one too."
he was just socializing, yeah.
and then they were mean to him, and he's just like, "Okay."
Well,
I
that's it then.
literally turned to Noah during that scene, and I was like, I know they're not going to try and make me sympathize for this killer clown from outer space.
And then they did.
And then they did.
And then they did. They just destroyed his bike. It was so sad.
Oh, they have a Funko Pop of little Punchy Boy as well. Look at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Shorty.
Why do all the clowns have names?
Aw.
Okay, let's talk about the names of the characters in this movie. Because every
Yeah,
Let's do
character,
it.
whether you know it or not, has a full name listed in the credits. Our main character, played by Discount Tom Cruise, is named Mike Tobacco.
What?
Mike Tobacco.
It's never actually
Yeah, I did
said
see
in
that.
the movie, but his name is Mike Tobacco.
I did see that.
What
on
in the
upon
world?
credit scroll.
Who named this
and
man?
Deborah Stone.
Deborah
What?
Stone.
It's like they literally, here's the thing, they were sitting in the like writer's room and they were like, okay, we got to give these characters last name, and they did the whole like alien looks at a street sign thing and just picked whatever was in the room.
Yeah, that's the impression I get. But
They're like, Mike, what you smoking there, Jim? Tobacco? His name's Mike Tobacco.
yeah. But it's like,
Also,
but then we've
like-
got so many characters. For as much as like, you know, Mike, Dave, and Debbie are three main characters, we only ever hear them referred to by their first names, and we never hear any of their last names. But then we have the Terenzi brothers, who are referred to almost exclusively as the Terenzi brothers. We have Joe
Yeah.
Lombardo,
Yeah.
I don't
who's
know
not
which
even
one
in
is
this
Rich or
movie,
Paul.
referred to by first and last name like 7 times.
Yeah.
We've got Bob
and then we
McCreed,
have
a
Punk
man who...
1 and Punk
What's that?
2. Punk 1 and Punk 2.
Yeah.
Almost all the clowns have names, and we
Yeah.
have Punk 1 and Punk 2.
What are you in here for?
It's because I got a 1 foot long safety pin. How about you?
Yeah,
What are
it's
you
just-
in for?
there's
I'm
so
a
much-
clown.
There's so much weird stuff going on with the names in this movie because there's so many characters who don't matter, who are referred to by their full names. And then we
Yeah.
have our 3 main characters who effectively just have no last names. And then their actual last names are like the dumbest names that you could possibly have.
I'm sorry, Noah just noticed that the name of the old farmer is Farmer Gene Green.
No, I just saw it again because Jeff mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
Oh, Farmer Gene Green, no.
The effect
And
doesn't
Pooh
wear off
Bear.
from hearing it multiple times, though. Like, why is his name Farmer Gene Green?
I wish I knew what Pooh Bear's dog, like the dog's real name was. After Thor from Krampus, I really want to know.
I want to know why they decided that Farmer Gene Green would name his dog Pooh Bear. I'm very confused by that, and
He
the
just
presence
likes
of those
Winnie the
two in the
Pooh.
narrative makes me really sad for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, they don't need to be there. It's just well, it's like a lot of horror movie intros have that thing where like
Right, they have
the
that guy that
character
gets
is
killed
unrelated.
off. Yeah.
Like Friday the
But why
13th 3
Pooh?
has that, like the third Friday the 13th movie has that really nice guy who likes rabbits and he gets killed.
I just found Joe Lombardo in the Killer Clowns IMDb, and it's this dude named Johnny Martin as in the after all 14 clown performers. There's an uncredited clown performer, and then there's Johnny Martin as Joe Lombardo, uncredited. And it's just like
They said his name 3 times in the
They
movie.
said his name like 19 times in the movie.
I was gonna say,
Joe
Mike said it
Lombardo.
3 times in a single sentence.
Okay, but
Joe
here's
Lombardo,
another
I found
thing.
Joe Lombardo. Joe Lombardo's dead.
Here's another thing, though. So there's
Yeah.
a scene later in the movie after we already know that Joe Lombardo is dead, and it's been mentioned that Joe Lombardo is dead like 17 times already
Joe Lombardo?
at this point in the movie
Yeah.
that Joe Lombardo is dead. There's no doubt in the world that
That Joe
Joe
Lombardo
Lombardo
is
is dead. But in the scene where we see one of the clowns riding an invisible motorcycle, and he just has like headlights on his shoes, and he's like
Right.
flying along next to this car, and the guy driving the car looks over and he says, "Come on, Joe, get going," as he's trying to get his car to drive faster. So is this like an out of order shot somewhere that was like supposed to be shown earlier toward the front of the movie, and that's Joe Lombardo?
I wonder.
Or is there another man in this town
Whoa.
named Joe? Why are there 2 characters in this movie that are named Joe?
It's a small town. It'd be like that.
But when you're naming
do wanna-
characters in a movie.
I wanna bring up a couple more things really out of nowhere here.
Yeah, totally.
Firstly, another moment that made me laugh is when he puts the handcuffs on the clown and the clown's hands just pop off. That was that some Looney Tunes stuff. I loved that. And then secondly, what did the popcorn that he threw in the trash do?
It
Did they
killed
just show us that for no reason?
It
ate the
killed
guy.
that
burger
guy
boy.
that was taking the trash out
Oh
at Big
my
Top
god, you're right. Okay, I totally forgot, even though I mentally noted the like stenciled Big Top Burger sign on the outside of the dumpster. Watch Big Top Burger by Worthy Kids on YouTube.
I was gonna
by
say,
the way.
side note, this is when I realized that Worthy Kids not only was every character a name clown reference, but he also just stole his entire burger shtick from Killer Clowns.
Yeah, because it's called Big Top Burger and the polka dot pattern is the exact same. But that's a pretty good homage to me because all the characters weren't named like Jumbo and Spike and Shorty.
Right.
They were named after, they were all Stephen King and It references. So.
Gotcha. I mean, to be fair, a circus-themed burger joint is not an uncommon concept to see in fiction.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So,
I mean, a
there's
place
that.
Jeff and I used to work at
But
had
it's a-
Circus Burger as
it's
their
a
training
clear-
video.
Yeah.
It's a clear homage because all of the characters in that series are homages to other horror things. Like
Right.
even the Zomburger, those characters are all named after characters from the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Uh-huh.
So he did it on purpose, but all that being said, I think it's great. And since I watched it out of order, I watched Killer Clowns and I was like, hey, that's a Worthy Kids thing.
Nice.
Same.
But yeah, the popcorn. It still hasn't really like processed with me what the popcorn did or was for.
It was
It
their
was just like
children.
clown.
It's just
It's
weird.
just clown grubs.
Clown grubs.
Yeah.
Also, who's JoJo the Clown? Because I tried to look up JoJo the Clown because they name drop JoJo the Clown at least 30 times. And I
Yeah.
get that it's like, I was
Yeah,
thinking
it's-
maybe it was the mascot of their ice cream truck.
That's the impression
But-
I got, but
But then I looked it up, and the only JoJo the Clown stuff I could find was like a Disney show from the 2000s.
oh.
It was really
I remember
crazy that
JoJo.
this early on they still had JoJo references in media.
That's what I wrote down.
that
The JoJo manga did start in like
It
1987.
was in the
didn't it?
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any clowns yet, though.
I don't think the Terenzi brothers read manga, so
You don't know.
I guess I don't.
Have you seen those two?
What's that?
They were. Mike said, "Yeah, Debbie has two roommates with big boobs who like free ice cream," and they were like, "Okay, we'll drive you right over right now." So I'm just saying,
Yeah, they seem like
read
weebs,
into
you're
that
right.
however you want.
They do seem like weebs. Do we have time to read a couple of Noah's notes?
Totally.
Out loud.
But do you want to hear a couple more fun facts about parts of the movie
Yes.
first?
Yes,
'Cause
that
we were
definitely
talking about
that
other
first.
horror properties a moment ago. So perhaps you'll
Right.
be interested to know. I already told you that Clownzilla was played by Charles Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
But the music that plays when the Clownzilla shows up was originally written by John Massari for a trailer for Friday the 13th Part 6.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh!
Wow.
And they decided not to use it, so he just kept that piece in his back pocket for when he wanted it later and wound up using it
love
in
that.
this movie. Also, the
Whack.
Killer Clowns March song that you hear like 3 times over the course of the movie, it's the song that's playing when they're just walking down the road in that blatant runtime padding shot where it's just clowns walking on a road for like 3
Yes.
minutes. That song. Apparently, he originally wrote that for his high school rock band that he was in. They were called Crisis. The band didn't like
gosh.
that riff because they thought it because it's basically an arpeggiation on an F major 7th chord, and they thought that sounded too much like jazz, so they didn't want to use it.
Interesting.
I'm sorry. How now?
Fantastic.
So yeah, so
Oh,
there's
that's
that.
fantastic.
All the cars that we see getting driven around and such in the movie, most of those vehicles were rented and could not be damaged because they weren't allowed to, which is why when the cop car gets wrecked and like, you know, you look at it and it looks like it's perfectly fine, they just like popped the hood up a little.
Yeah.
That's why they weren't allowed to actually damage any of their vehicles, but they did.
Makes sense.
The Jeep that got its inside all covered up with cotton candy, When they were cleaning it out, they accidentally damaged it with the solvent that they were using to clean it, and it needed like $3,000 worth of repairs.
Oh no.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
There's a couple of conflicting stories about the car that went off the bridge when it was being driven by the guy who is not Joe Lombardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe somebody else.
There's a couple of conflicting stories circulating around about that one. Some sources will tell you that the car wasn't originally meant to go off of the bridge and that was like an accident. Other sources claim that scene was supposed to be a lot more spectacular and the car was supposed to like go flying off the bridge instead of just kind of tumbling over the edge. So I don't know what the truth is, but something in that scene didn't happen the way that it was supposed to, and the car was not supposed to get destroyed, or it was supposed to get destroyed way worse. I don't know what to believe.
I love the idea
I
that that's...
love how it got lost in translation,
Right?
To
Like,
the point where
Isn't that
it's like
weird?
something
Completely
went wrong.
conflicting stories.
All right, guys, we paid $10,000 for this car, and we're gonna blow it up. I hope you're ready. And then, nope.
Nope.
Or, all right, guys, we're renting all these cars. Don't wreck them.
Oh no. Yeah. So then when they tell the Terenzi brothers to abandon their ice cream truck and they yell, "No, we can't. It's a rental." I think that's a reference to that, to the fact
That's
that they had
fine.
all those cars that they couldn't destroy.
I love how the brothers 100% should have died there, but they
We went in the freezer with the ice cream.
So-
and now we're in the clown car for no good reason.
So apparently, in the original ending of the movie, the original ending that they shot, the Terenzi brothers were still supposed to survive somehow, but Dave the cop was supposed to just die in the explosion.
I wish he had.
So
okay with
so
that.
here's the thing. I wish he had, because I feel like that would be a better ending for his character. It fits better. But also, if he dies in the explosion, the Terenzi brothers also have to die in the explosion, right? So having them survive
because
they were
and
in the
die
freezer with
doesn't
the
make
ice
any
cream.
sense.
Okay, so a couple notes about Dave the cop. I
Yeah.
hated him.
Hate
However, I hate him less if the implied ending is the canon ending, and that's that he, Mike, and Debbie got together as a throuple.
Yes.
Because that I can vibe with. He quits the force. The three of them are together. It's a nice ending.
I don't know about
let's
that.
be real.
Well,
Dave
actually,
could not keep his hands
some
off
of the
Debbie.
some of the ways that Dave grabs Mike when he's trying to tell them to get out,
See?
he like practically puts his hand down into his pocket at one point.
See?
Okay,
two of
I
them
was
have
I was mad at you for a second, but I think I see it now.
It's one of those things where they spend so much of the movie like having this arc where they come to trust each other, where yes, I can totally accept it as just like a friendship,
Sure.
whatever, but I hate Dave so much that I can't accept just friendship for him.
does
It's
just
either he's in a
suck.
romantic relationship or he has to die.
Well, but like here's the weirder thing for me is after he gets out and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Dave, you're alive," and the Terenzi brothers are like, "Oh, we hid with the ice cream." While all that's happening,
Yeah, I love that.
he like hugs Debbie and kisses her on the head, which is a really weird
Yeah,
thing for an
no.
ex-boyfriend
Oh my
to do,
God.
no matter what the situation
I really
is.
No, Dave needs to back off. in a
I
Absolutely.
hate
huge
when they
way.
finally get her out of the balloon and he's like all over her and he's not letting Mike get a word in edgewise. He's like, he calls her honey.
Yeah.
He's like, Debbie, honey, I'm gonna get you out. I'm like, shut the.
It makes me
Shut
wonder
up.
if somewhere in the middle they changed who she was dating, or maybe she was supposed to be having a fling with Mike, and then they
Or
ended
maybe
up.
she got back together with Mike halfway through the movie in one of the, or not Mike, Dave, like halfway through the movie in one of the drafts, and that like got written out. I don't know. It's just really weird.
I
how
think it's
he,
bold
like,
of you to
busts
assume
in.
that much thought went into any of the script of this movie, which has such
super fair.
exchanges as, "Oh, but it was right here in the spot where this hole is." "Oh, so you're saying that it was right here in the spot where this hole is?" Yeah.
See, all of my favorite exchanges involve Mooney acting like ice cream trucks are the most foreign, unheard of thing on planet Earth. It's like the Terenzi brothers with their ice cream truck.
To be
you can
fair,
tell
Mooney
the way
acts
he
that
talks.
way about everything.
Yeah, but like just there's other people around town that also act like ice cream trucks are not normal, and even the Terenzi brothers seem to not believe that ice cream trucks are a base concept that they could get off the ground. Much less the fact that everyone else in town's just like, what the fuck is an ice cream truck?
He's like, I told you this was a bad idea, and it's like, no, it's actually
girls
not.
Don't
if you
like ice cream.
What was that?
I didn't say that. You said that. Shut up.
Yeah, a lot of
back on. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
You.
No, go for it.
No, you. Back on Mooney,
Yes.
I just love how when they reveal that he's a Korea vet, I'm like, oh. And his whole character makes so much more sense.
Totally, yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. Everything about Mooney is honestly, I mean, we already know he's the best acted character in the movie.
Totally.
I just, watching him sit there with 7 phones in front of him being like, wow, those Terenzi brothers really got the whole town in on this clown thing. Just sitting there smoking a fat cigar and being like, I'm not going to be fooled.
Yeah.
And then a 7-foot clown walks in and is like,
And he's got no
"Oh,
questions."
Okay. Yeah.
When
and-
the clown squirts the water in his face with the flowers, and then in the next shot the flowers are gone, I turned to Noah and I was like, I just choose to believe that's canon.
Yeah. That's how they get the pies into their hands as well. When they climb out of the car, none of them are holding anything behind their backs, and then suddenly they've just all got pies in their hands. Like, that's just a power that these clowns have.
They're wizards.
oh, here's something I forgot.
I'm telling ya.
I forgot that, like, aside from Mooney thinking that the Terenzi brothers have everyone in on this trick, it also is really established that everyone in town hates the Terenzi brothers.
Literally everyone, yeah.
Like, no
Yeah.
one seems to like them. Why would
Except Mike.
everyone play in on their bit?
Mike
Yeah,
is
Mike's
like
just
super
"Oh, yeah, I know them
nostalgic
from
about
high
them. He's
school."
like, "Oh man, I tell you what, I want to have a good time here in Albany. I call Rich and Paul."
I just want to know which one's Rich and which one's Paul.
There's no way to know.
I don't know. I thought I knew for a second, but I don't. The other thing is going back to early in the movie
Okay.
when I have a couple things to say.
Sure.
Firstly, I hugely relate to Debbie and her. There was a literal shooting star that landed right over the hill. Let's go check it out. And him being like, "No, I don't want to look," and her being like, "You." Bitch. and dragging him out there, and then the moment she sees the tent, she does the other smartest thing that she does in the whole movie. She says, okay, yeah, I guess we're just going into Nina's strong female character bit right now, aren't
Sure.
we? She's like, let's get out of here, this is weirding me out. And Mike, Mr. I'd rather drink champagne in a raft in the back of my truck, goes, no, let's go look. And it's like, Debbie is the smartest person in this movie, hands down.
Yes, she is. And Mike doesn't make a single good decision.
No.
Not even one.
Unlike Mooney, who not only thinks that the widely disliked Terenzi brothers can get the rest of the town in on it, but he also thinks that literally everyone in town dislikes him that much that they'd want to do that to him.
And, I mean, to be fair, he is a dick.
But, like,
is.
the convenience store owner clearly likes him. He's like, Kurt, you gotta help me. Like,
Yeah, and
I
he
think
hangs
they're
up the
friends.
phone like, Bob, not you too.
Mm-hmm.
While we're
Tragic.
talking
That's actually kind of
about
sad.
Mooney again, I feel like we do actually need to highlight, since this is a horror movie podcast, a podcast where we talk about horror movies on the podcast, we
Where
should
talk
talk
horror
about
movies.
yes, exactly. We do need to talk about the one moment in this movie that is actually genuinely very chilling, which is where Mooney has died and the one clown is using him as a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah.
Which he foreshadowed
yes.
early in
Yep.
the movie when he said, "You won't make a dummy out of me,"
Oh.
and then was made
Oh.
into a literal dummy. And he says, the way that John Vernon acts this scene is like fantastic. I wish that he had like won an award for this or something, because it's so good the way that he acts like a dummy. And he's like, he keeps
It's
like
very
looking at the
good.
clown and he's like moving real weird. And he says, "Hey Dave, who's that lady I saw you with last night?" And Dave like doesn't react. So then his like entire facial tone changes, and his vocal tone also completely like turns around, and he says, "Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you."
Mm-hmm.
I really that bit went on just as long as it needed to.
Yes.
So I also kind of wish there was a little more.
Yeah, like,
And I'm glad that it stopped right then, because any more would have been just cheesy.
Sure.
But this was actually just like a nice little like, there it is.
but it's like the whole flow of it makes it feel like, you know, like the clown was legitimately just trying to joke around with Dave at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
when Dave didn't react or laugh or anything, then his tone changes and he says, "Don't worry, all we want to do is kill you." Which, again, this is one of those things that is mentioned really briefly, real late in the movie, and raises so many questions about these clowns. Like, the way that he says, "Don't worry, all we want to do is kill you," makes it seem like death is actually just nothing to these clowns. Like, do the clowns get reincarnated and they're aware of it, and like the rest of us just aren't, or something? Like, why did the clowns think that death is nothing? What?
No, I
Or is
think
that him
it's
just
more he
joking
was
again?
just like
Is that also a joke?
joking around
I
and
don't
like fucking with him.
I don't know. It's impossible to
I-
tell.
I like both theories. I also just like that this is the only time that we actually just hear the clowns like talk, because they
Yeah.
kind of talk to each other in the weird like garbled minion tone, but like it is really cool to get like this look into like that specific part.
Yeah.
Like obviously, they're still just killer clowns from outer space. It's not that deep, fam.
Totally.
But it's also
But-
really fun.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, that scene, one of many scenes in this movie that I think inspired other movies that came a few years later on. That particular one, I think, definitely inspired the "Release Me" scene in Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it feels.
I haven't seen Independence Day.
Oh man,
well,
it's
never mind
okay.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of fun characters that aren't in it for long enough, you know. But also the cotton candy cocoons, of course. We all know that inspired that one scene in Overlord, of course.
Yeah, no, that was a huge
Literally,
part of it.
yeah.
Where the Nazi walked into
direct homage.
the room with all the tar bags and he stuck a crazy straw into one of them. Yeah.
I hate that that's almost what happened, though.
I can't.
All right, so
Oh,
we reading
no.
Noah's notes?
Yeah, here I got some.
All right, go ahead and scroll through. Do your thing.
1 sec, I got it.
Theme music plays now.
Oh,
We're
did
gonna
you-
start strong right
Noah's notes.
starting right strong at the top. We've got good old beer brand beer.
Yeah, I wrote that one too.
It's just like, it looks like it's supposed to be Miller Lite,
But then the can
but
just
because
says
it's the right
beer.
blue, but it's just beer. How much money do you have to pay to obtain generic options for your movies?
I can't imagine it would be that much, but this was a very cheap movie. They made it all for like $2 million.
And most of the money went into dry
Effects.
cleaning and
Replacing
the popcorn gun.
cars that they weren't supposed to ruin.
Or were, who knows. We also have No Stop the Racist Thing, which was when Mike was being all racist, which sucked.
Uh-huh.
Classic Mike.
Classic racist Mike.
I love this one. Voices echoing down a metal hallway. Fine. Normal circus tent. Nothing that off. Massive reactor. Obviously not okay. Concerning. Weird room with cotton candy. Oh, never mind. This is normal and fine again.
Classic racist Mike. Not knowing how circus tents work.
We have you can low-key tell half the people are saying clown with a K.
You can, though.
Yeah.
Like, the people who know the clowns are aliens are saying clown with a K.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, if it's you can feel it. You know, it's weird how, but you can. Let's see. Wow, they bought the big titty ice cream loving roomie story. I'm impressed. This is going off one of Noah's notes, but that scene where they're the clown footprints, but it's clearly just like cardboard cutouts of clown footprints on the ground.
They're
Yeah.
just all over the walls and everywhere. It's so good.
Right.
so
Well, and if you
good.
try to track the way that they move on the floor, also, like they're not going
Yeah.
in two parallel lines the whole time. There's
No.
one point where the clown would have had to have a third foot for it to make sense.
Yeah.
We have, I believe they all fit in that car. Boo.
Yeah. If there's one thing we could change about
Oh.
this movie, it would be more clowns coming out of the car in that scene.
More clowns.
Hands. See, but here's my favorite note I made. I think this is the best one.
Okay.
Big top tent? Nah, big top tent.
I thought that, but I didn't write it down.
It's just like, I mean, you look at the thing and it's just like, oh, it's a big a big top 10.
Yeah.
And then it makes me wonder if that's something that was said and they're
Right.
like, yeah, we're going to do that.
Like, oh yeah, let's run
Or
with
if they were
that.
just looking for the best way to design a UFO that was also a circus tent.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that could very easily go either way, right? Because
It
on one
could,
hand,
honestly.
it's in the spirit of the concept of the rest of the movie to imagine that somebody just said big top tent and somebody thought, oh, I've got an idea. What if the thing is just top shaped and it spins? Like,
One of the Chiodo brothers. I have a much better idea. Big top 10.
See, having seen the early, so Noah's been to Seattle, and so has Emma. But
Weird
Emma,
flex,
did
but
we
okay.
go downtown? I don't remember. No, we
No.
didn't. So you haven't actually seen the Space Needle.
No.
Okay, so the Space Needle looks a little bit, even in pictures you can tell, it looks a little bit like a circus tent. The top is kind of like that like pointy bit. And some of the early designs for the Space Needle make me think of this like other like alternative if I were to design a circus like tent space plane. What?
I think this is falling apart on us.
The point is, I know there are other ways that you can possibly design a UFO to look like a big top tent because, like, that's kind of how the Space Needle looks. But I think that just going for a straight up top is probably the best route they could have gone because it made me laugh really hard when Noah said
Absolutely,
big
yeah.
top tent.
yeah, I think it's probably the best thing they could have done. And even better is the fact that they fully embraced it and just had it spin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I just remembered another thing that made me laugh really hard is when Mike's opening all the doors and every time he just goes,
Another
another door!
Another door.
Open door. Stop. Turn around. Open door. Stop. Turn around. Open door. Stop. Turn. And it's just like, Mike, you gotta. They're right there,
Another
dude.
door!
I don't know. I wouldn't
that's
choose to watch this
definitely-
again, but if someone asked me to watch this with them right now, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I
It's one of
wouldn't.
those
I
movies
don't
that,
have
like,
enough time.
I don't think I am ever going to be in a hurry to watch it a third time.
Yeah.
However,
I think
if I were to just show up somewhere and somebody was like, oh, we're going to watch Killer Clowns, I'd be like, well, okay.
I think I wouldn't like want to dedicatedly watch it
No.
with somebody. Like if somebody was like, "Oh, hey, I want to watch this." I'd be like, "Okay, well, let me get my drawing pad."
Yeah,
great
I'm going to
party
do
movie.
something else while this movie is
Yeah,
on.
I'll do
but-
something else while it's on.
Exactly.
And I will sit here while you watch it.
But I won't make you
There
turn
it
it
is.
off. It's that kind of movie,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be completely honest. I didn't I wasn't fully tuned into this movie. Like, I was on my phone a lot of the time, but clearly it didn't affect my comprehension of the movie all that much.
The fact that the
Clearly,
movie has
she
so little
says.
plot, it's just a string of events just kind of run together. Like, it's a good movie to not fully pay attention to. Because you don't
Yeah.
need to know anything from earlier in the movie to fully understand what's happening later in the movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
It helps. It definitely helps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just seeing some more of these clowns again, and they're so ugly.
They are. They are.
They're
Yeah.
so ugly.
They're lumpy as hell. I think if there's one word I'd use to describe these clowns, it would be lumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah.
They're just blobby boys.
They're straight up. Noah just is looking at pictures so he can make a little poster to advertise this. And there's one that looks like a YouTube thumbnail that says Killer Clowns Explained. Explain what?
Explained? What?
What is there to explain?
I'm also a huge fan of this lineup of 4 clowns, but the Clownzilla face is being used on one of them, which I think breaks the immersion.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. Breaks the immersion on that image, yeah. There have been rumors of a sequel.
No.
Yeah.
A sequel's
as of
been
November.
in development hell for literally 30 years since the movie
Jesus
first came
Christ.
out. And there are quotes from the Kyoto brothers as recently as 2016, 2018.
No, as recently as this November.
As this November.
Like
this past
2 months
November.
ago,
Oof.
they said that they were working with Netflix, maybe.
They're working with Netflix,
Oh my
maybe.
God.
Oh my. Ho ho.
I swear to
Yeah.
Christ, if our 4 views watching this movie are what pushes it over the edge for Netflix to be like, yeah, this is worth
Green
our
light
investment.
that
I'm gonna be
one.
pissed.
No, trust me.
They wanna
it's not
do-
gonna. There are enough people to watch this on a
Yeah.
monthly basis.
They want to do 3 whole more movies.
4 killer clown movies?
4. Yeah. Stephen Kyoto
They're crazy.
says they want to do... He's referring to it as a trilogy in 4 parts.
What the?
The immediate sequel,
Hey, what?
actually the title has been out for 10 years now because it was originally slated for 2012 and then it got
Okay, Christopher
postponed. It's going to be
Palin, trilogy
called
in 4 parts.
The Return of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space in 3D.
Oh no.
Giving it all the dignity it deserves, clearly. Yeah, it was going to be in 2012, and then they postponed it, and then they were talking with... They've been talking with
That's
every
good.
network under the sun since then. And it was owned by Fox for a while, and they intended to develop the sequel, and then Disney acquired Fox and canceled it when they canceled
Oh.
everything else.
Disney has done one good thing. But also,
But
I'm actually shedding tears.
so they're actually talking to Netflix about it now. That's interesting.
yes.
They
Wow.
really won't let this go.
That's
huh?
really concerning. I'm glad that the Kyoto brothers are excited to be doing it, because they do seem really interested in doing it. But do we need it?
No.
And on that note,
No.
I feel like we're
Yep.
probably done here. We've been pretty scattered this whole time.
Yeah, we can probably start wrapping up.
There's nothing else that we could possibly have done with this movie, in fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got final thoughts?
Final thoughts. If you like special effects spectacles, definitely watch this movie. If you don't like So Bad It's Good movies, don't watch this
Yeah,
movie.
no.
Yeah.
If you do not like gimmicky movies, because I know there are people out there that really don't, then this is not the movie for you. Just don't even bother. But otherwise, it's fun. It's a fun watch. A lot of things happen that will make you think, "Wow, they really did that." So, yeah.
Yep. By the end of the movie, you definitely will be saying, "Oh man, that happened, huh?"
Yeah. For
Yep.
sure. Okay, with all that said, I'm Emma. You can find me at MJ2017 on Twitter, or Emma Panada on Twitch, or I run the podcast Twitter, which is at Casual Horror Pod. And I'm sure I will have some things to tweet about this movie as this episode starts to release.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure you will.
My name is Nina. I have a couple Twitter accounts, but the important one right now is House Usher Rises, where I sometimes post about the horror movies that I'm watching. I posted about Killer Clowns, and one of my followers said that he wants to watch the movie for the first time since it came out on video, which implies to me that he is very old. So thank you. Thank you.
Rude.
Wow.
Thank you for the response, sir. I believe his name is Dan, but let me double check.
You could have just said, which implies that he saw it in theaters. You didn't
Yes,
have
his
to
name
say
is
very
his
old.
name is Dan. He's another artist, and yeah, he definitely saw this movie in theaters. Good for him. Yeah, no, so yeah, definitely follow me over there to see me post about horror movies and interact with other horror artists.
Noah. You can find me as Bubba the Bad, BUBBADABAD, Twitch, Twitter, and Insta. I sometimes also tweet about horror movies and many other things. Right now, I'm just reeling at the fact that they tried to fake us out, thinking that Clownzilla was like a puppet on strings.
And then the first
But
thing
then
that he
they're just
does
like,
is rip the
but
strings
nope.
off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm just looking at that picture right now. That's about all I've got.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at BubbaWubbadab, BUBBAUUBBADAB. And you can find me on Instagram at The Hammer of Jeff.
There we go.
Nice.
Prep for next week, y'all.
Oh,
We're
boy.
watching Apostle, and it's a whole time. I think not in a bad way, but it is a very strong tonal shift from Killer Clowns.
Okay. I've never seen the movie, but I am a big fan of Apostles with the way that they eat ticks and are immune to Lyme disease.
No,
You're
that's
thinking
possums.
of opossums.
Oh, no.
I love apostles in the way that their body temperature is so low or hot. I don't remember that they cannot have rabies.
Yeah.
That's
Once
pretty
again,
cool,
that
isn't
is
it?
opossums.
I'm a big fan of Apostles because of the way that they just like live off of garbage and it's not a big deal. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's apostles.
So is this movie going to be kind of like Southern Gothic kind of a feel?
Southern Gothic is a vibe, I guess. I would say, has anyone seen the original Wicker Man?
No.
No.
I got nothing then, y'all.
No,
Wasn't
no,
he that guy from Pride and Prejudice?
Okay. I'm being serious
Somebody
here.
got it.
I
It
do.
is.
No, that's Wembley.
Okay, y'all need to shut up. We're talking serious.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Emma?
I do want to say, so, next episode we're watching Apostle. I'm very excited about it. Especially because it's a more recent movie. I don't like these older ones. But, also, just to kind of like start hinting a little bit, it's been a meme for us hosts for a bit, but I get my first like actual movie pick the next time it's my turn, which is in 3 episodes. And it's been a big secret of what the movie's gonna be. So please look forward to me revealing what that movie will be at the end of Nina's next episode.
It's worth mentioning I'm literally the only one who doesn't know at this point.
Yeah, Nina and Noah were able to guess it after like 2 weeks. And Jeff has not been able to get it.
I'm just proud of myself for actually having guessed it instead of being handed it on a silver platter.
Like,
So,
it was handed to me.
but yeah, I don't know what my next movie is going to be. So you guys don't get any hints to that.
Yeah.
But Apostle next time.
Also,
Yay.
you're welcome. I wanted to make you all watch Silent Hill, but it's not on Netflix anymore.
I actually wanted to watch
Ah,
Silent Hill.
bummer.
I watched like the sequel to it like 6 years ago.
The first one's actually whatever. We'll talk about this when I make you watch it.
Sure.
Bye,
sure.
everybody.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Microchip vaccine.